Hi guys, welcome back to the third part of our discussion of the calendar year for Manchester United, that was 2020. We've looked at how the immediate impact of Bruno was. We have discussed about how the post-lockdown matches were in the Premier League and as well as the Europa League and the FA Cup. Now we look at this particular season that we've had, which is 2021. We are not yet halfway through it because the fixtures started a lot later than usual. But let's get straight into it. Prasham, this was the point that you wanted to come up with, and I will get you on, to discuss this matter. We had a disastrous transfer window, didn't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think disastrous is a generous word to use for that transfer window. There was a lot of frustration among the fans and even among the players. The likes of Luke Shaw came out and said that we need better players to improve this squad. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in as many words as he could, he spelled it out that, we need to strengthen the squad. But this is what happens when you have people running the club that do not understand football. We have needed a right winger since Sir Alex Ferguson, since Cristiano Ronaldo left. We haven't replenished that position, and the entire transfer window was inextricably linked with Jadon Sancho. That's all you heard for the 5-6 months, and Dortmund had given a hard deadline that they will not sell after a particular point. But our board doesn't seem to understand, doesn't seem to take it seriously, and we kept dilly-dallying around it. That's just one part of it. The second part of it is that the deadwood. Yes, we got rid of Ashley Young. Yes, we got rid of Alexis Sanchez. Yes, we got rid of Lukaku in the previous season. But these guys were quality players. The likes we wanted to get rid of really were the likes of Lingard, Pereiras, Phil Jones, Marcus Rojo. These people are yet at the club. They are taking huge wages. We couldn't sell Sergio Romero. Look at Arsenal. Even at their state, they sold Emi Martinez to Aston Villa. Sergio Romero, we've been calling him the second best best second choice keeper in the Premier League for the longest time. Yeah, for the longest time we've been saying this, and we couldn't find a club to buy him. This comes down to the fact that nobody wants to deal with Manchester United and Ed Woodward in particular. You can read all the tier one sort of transfer experts, and they will come out and say that nobody likes to deal with Ed Woodward because he's frugal, he's unresponsive, he does not know how the football world works, and we do not have any nuance in deal making. We couldn't get the Jadon Sancho done, even though they were agreeing to part payment. Sergio Reguilon is another one that we lost out on. Just look at the way he's playing. In my opinion, he's miles above Alex Telles as a player. I know the buyback clause was a sticking point and all.
That was a big factor.
But we couldn't get that deal over the line. So, in my view, this board, not only are they not unwilling to pay the right price for the right player, but they're also unwilling to show any craft, any nuance in transfer dealings. There are so many options: player swaps, installments, buyback clauses. There are so many things that you can do with the transfer, but our board somehow doesn't have an idea. So look at the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool. They are so efficient with their transfers. All their useless players also earn them money for somehow. But for us, it just doesn't seem to happen. The other player we were desperately after was Jack Grealish. We didn't get him, and look at what he's doing this season. So almost every story with Manchester United in the transfer market is that of disappointment and failure. And then what do? We go on the last day and sign, in my view, what was a smokescreen signing in Edinson Cavani. Now, if you are telling me that Edinson Cavani was a permanent part of the plans of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the board, he was a free agent since January. Why didn't we sign him? 2 months, 3 months in advance, he would have trained with the squad, got up his fitness levels, would have been more new. He would have come in directly and played. He came in the end. Amad Diallo, you're telling me again he was a permanent fixture in this squad? How is that possible that he was a permanent fixture and we weren't able to secure a visa for him? Pelestri, he's a player who's come in and has gone straight to the under 23s, and it doesn't seem like he's going to feature in the first team in this season at all. So all these signings, in my view, are smokescreen signings, and our fans bought it, right? Everyone was so happy when Cavani signed, given the number 7. Shirt sales are up. It's great for business. Twitter is going berserk. But at the end of the day, is Edinson Cavani the player to take us forward? Yes, he's a good player. There's no question he's a good player. But was he what was promised to us? Ed Woodward said Manchester United can do things in the transfer market that no other team does. Well, yes, we do things that no other team does because no other team wants to do these things. We are absolutely disgusting in the transfer market.
Right. Look, you have basically summed up about literally everything about what a transfer window was all about. But coming back to Jack Grealish, yes, we were after him, and I guess a very dodgy goal line technology failure was the difference in between Aston Villa staying up and Bournemouth going down. So had that result stayed, then Aston Villa were going down and Bournemouth was staying up. So Jack really should have been here at about 30, 35 million at best. But when you say that the likes of Chelsea have strengthened left, right, and centre, that's always been the point that I've never agreed with, in the sense that the moment a team goes around changing 7 or 8 of its players, or if not changing, but at least signing 7 or 8 of its players, for them to gel into the way the Premier League works, its physicality, its pace, is extremely difficult. And I guess to a certain extent, some of the Chelsea players who have been signed are being found out that they are not entirely at pace with the Premier League as yet. So Chelsea signing, truckloads of players. I mean, even during the transfer window, it didn't bother me. Grealish not coming was a bit of an accident, all thanks to the technology we all know. But yes, I mean, I sat there in the entire summer thinking, what the hell do the likes of Matt Judge and the others, who are so-called within the the recruitment team of United, what are they doing that? They were basically running helter-skelter after a Ahmad and a Pellistri and a Cavani on the last day of the transfer window, and they barely delivered Telles 3 or 4 days before. And the only signing that we did, which looked in some sense, which was done respectfully enough, was that of Van de Beek, and now Oli doesn't use him. So where we started the new season was with a disastrous summer transfer window. And to make matters worse, I'll bring in AB and Siam and Pratik on this. The start of the season, agar aap, for 1 second, if you put aside the transfer saga, which Prasham has very nicely highlighted, we had a disastrous start. And I'm not even talking about Crystal Palace or Spurs. I'm talking about off the field nonsense that we had to bear. Aaron Van Bissaka traveling to Dubai and breaking the quarantine rules. We had this Maguire issue in Greece, and then we had the Greenwood thing happening with England. So it was all over the place. So how do you think, if you put the transfer nuisance aside, how do you think the squad was ready enough to start for the new season? AB, Dhruv, and Siam, you all three can come in for this.
Sir, what I think, that's what preseason is very necessary for a team. That's what preseason does to a team. It preseason is very necessary before any season which starts, because it come along together, they gel in together very well. Because we didn't have preseason due to this coronavirus thing, it too created a lot of nuisance here and there for us, and because of that we had a disaster start to this season.
Right. AB
So
and
yeah, so according to me, yeah, Sam Bhai is right that preseason is very important. But somehow the role of manager also plays a very important thing, that because we all know from the Sir Alex Ferguson day that how he was strict with his players. They had instructions even then they were preseason, but yes, they went on to the holidays when the in between the time they got when the new season had to start, and our all players were somehow, and I was 99% they were disciplined enough. But in one window where you had such a brief time where we know that season had to start within a month, and we don't have any preseason, and so but still they went on to these holidays, and going on to the holidays is one thing and creating nuisance there is another thing. So I guess somehow Ole had also had to take some I guess the strict decisions so that these things don't happen in future enough, because this has led to the morale also of the team has brought down due to all these activities, and which was clearly reflected from the start of the season. Also, Pogba got the COVID after that. Then our
yeah,
4-5
yeah.
our first 4-5 players were not well enough, and they were not it somehow AWB had Dubai issue, Maguire had the Greece issue, then he was not performing well in England setup also, then Greenwood issue with the in Iceland, with Pogba having the COVID situation. Bruno also was not in form somehow because he was not having the great players around. So all these situation led to the downfall of us, the worst start of the season which we had in many years.
I mean, Saim Bhai, Prateek, and Dhruv. I mean, do you think the disastrous start to the season was to do with the fact that all these off the field issues happened and the transfer window was a debacle, or it was also to do with the fact that the players were so burnt out from the season before that they just didn't, have the fitness or the psychological cut that you normally expect a footballer to have to start going for the next season. Do you think the burnout was also a reason for it? Because the players who were available were also not performing to what the standards they could have.
Dhruv,
No,
would you like to give
Mojo,
some?
what I would say is that, yeah, what I would say is that Ole had this first preseason with us. And what I would say is that we can take example of Cristiano Ronaldo. Every team he goes to, he scores a bunch of goals. They over depend on him. And then when he goes, there's a period of lull of a couple of seasons. You look at Real Madrid, what happened there? You look at the Juventus, what will happen, and what happened to us as well. So we can compare that with what we are going through when we had Sir Alex. He was like the maestro, and this post Sir Alex era, we have compared everybody to him, and there can never be anybody like him. So
Hmm.
what we need to is step aside from that shadow that he has cast over us to protect us somehow, and that instead of protecting us has given us excuse for almost everything. We need to step aside of that. Let it be a part of history. Don't let it. We cannot repeat it. Nobody cannot repeat it. It has to be a part of history now. So we need to make our own identity now. And Ole has this first preseason. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ole had his first preseason and it wasn't a proper preseason. So he didn't prepare the team as he would have liked, or he had the experience to do so. And that led to in big part players not, you know, cohesively gelling with whatever they were supposed to do in the preseason. There were some mishappenings. I would rather term as what happened to Maguire. I don't hope and it should happen to anyone. But we cannot blame him for what happened to him. And his performances were affected by it. And also, what happened is the transfer window, as Prasham termed as well. It wasn't a transfer window for us. It was just a make over, you would say, to polish up the cracks. And and in all of this, we have lost our identity. There is nothing where we can fall back to in if something happens to Bruno. Can you comprehend what will happen? Nothing. We'll just go back in a lull because we are too over dependent on him now.
Right. I mean, so that brings me to Dhruv and Saim Bhai. Uh, how would you define the season so far? That is 2020-21 for us. How do you think it's going so far, Dhruv and
Only
Saim
one
Bhai?
from where we started, sir. I have only one term with me, that is progress. We are progressing with every game.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I have to say.
I think if
Okay.
we see the league after the disastrous transfer window, I I find we are at a better position
Okay.
than we should have been at. But the Champions League exit is obviously a big blow for us. But
Mhm.
hopefully we can go and win the Europa League and make amendment for that.
I
See,
mean,
what
And
I
so
would
I
right.
say
also
is,
think,
So
and I
Yeah,
also
go
think
on.
that
yeah,
losing to Sevilla in the Europa League semi-final, which we were favorites to win, also
Mhm.
had an impact on the season start. Because if we would have won that trophy, then we would have come in with a more positive attitude,
Okay.
which could have started, which could have made our season a lot better from the starting.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Prateek, you were saying something.
yeah, what I want to say is that he said that we should go and target the Europa League. I'm not at all in favor in doing that. We should not put our hand into something that we are not capable of, taking it out of. We we win the Europa League. See, suppose let's say we do that, and by doing that, we might, harm our chances in the Premier League. We might not finish in the top three or top four. And if we win the Europa League and somehow get into the Champions League, then for just mere 6 games, we are, sort of putting aside a season's worth of progress for just 6 games. there will not be any progress if we target the Europa League, in my opinion. We have to
See,
go domestic.
what I
We have to
would,
build.
Now, I would say that February, in what league position we are, will decide whether we Europa League is important for us or not.
We're gonna
Because
be in the top two
the
or
way,
three.
yeah, nah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That if in January, if we are all hoping that what we have got in December, we'll similarly perform the way we are performing right in January also. And if by chance we don't do that, and we are still in the position, we are going down the season's ranking, we are in the sixth or seventh, then I guess Europa League will again become important for us, because to get the ticket to the Champions League, which we all
See,
don't want that, but it all depends from the in the January, how we are playing in January.
see
see
what I
what,
was
what
saying.
I'll
What I
what
was
I'll now summarize with this, because we left. Yeah, yeah, go on, Pratik.
Yeah, I'm saying that if we are in the 6 and 7 position before the Europa League begins, which I don't think is at all possible, every team is having a hard time winning their games, and what we need to do is just do well in our games. And if we don't get distracted by the Europa League, see Carabao Cup and FA Cup, they're domestic. We can go about it because we are almost more than halfway through in that. Europa is just starting the knockout phases, and we don't know what the situation in Europe is going to be like with COVID. And so we don't need to target the Europa League and harm our chances in the next season, or this season rather. I would rather have us finish in the top two and not win anything, rather than win the Europa League, get in the Champions League, and then get out of the Champions League, drop down into Europa League, doing the same process again. That's
All
what I
right.
don't like.
Look, we guys are running out of time, so I'll just summarize. Just put this in perspective, guys. 1st January 2020, Manchester United at 8th position with 25 points, having played 18 games. On the 1st of January 2021, we could have played 16 games. We can be on 33 points, and that is 8 points better off with 2 games played less. So, in any which way you look at it, that is progress. I will leave it
Progress.
to Ollie and his coaching staff to decide what all cups and trophies we need to run for. But a big shout out to Prasham and to Priyan from the United Star for joining us. And we look forward to collaborating with you guys again. And a big thank you to AB, to Dhruv, to Siam, and to Pratik for turning up for our new property on MUFC Red Devil NCR, which we are going to call it the Devil Speak. And guys, do like and subscribe our videos. We'll be back with more content, and we'll also be collaborating with more fan channels in the future. Take care, all the best, and glory, glory, Man United.
Glory, glory, Man United.
Glory, glory.
Man
Glory,
United.
Man United.